What's going on, guys? I'm doing another episode of my one trade for every team in each division series. This time I'm doing the Southeast Conference. So let's get started. My first team is the Washington Wizards. So the biggest issue with the Wizards this season is most likely their depth and their play at the big spot. Now, Markieff Morris is a fine player, as is Marcin Gortat, but they struggle a lot with their depth. And the big reason because this is Jan Mahimni's health. However, I think the way to fix this is if they had a better power forward in terms of a more traditional or more of an athletic and garbage type of guy. The thing is with Markieff, he's a little bit more finesse in terms of he wants to shoot the three, doesn't rebound as much, at least that's what I consider finesse. So I think what they need to do is trade for a guy who can go out there and get rebounds, because the only guys who really rebound on that team right now is pretty much Gortat and a little bit in Otto Porter. So I think the best option is to go and trade for Kenneth Faried. So this trade, by the way, all the trades are verified through Trade Finder. You can try them on your own. I would trade Jason Smith and Markieff Morris, and in return I would get Kenneth Faried. Now the reason why the Wizards would do this, as I mentioned earlier, they need rebounding, and I think the best thing for them to do is to get a guy who would probably fit really well next to John Wall. They're about the same age, and I think they'd be a really good combo as well in the pick and roll, as is the same pick and roll using Marcin Gortat. Now the reason why the Nuggets would do this trade, it's a little bit tougher for them, but the thing is they have a ton of guys who are power forwards and centers, and yes, they do get two power forwards in return, but I feel Markieff Morris is better fitting on that team, as they want to stretch the floor more now that they've found out Nikola Jokic is a great guy to build around. So having Markieff Morris who can shoot the mid-range and shoot the three pretty decently, I think would be a great fit. And Jason Smith is to fit salaries, but he is still a pretty talented guy, so I think he'd be a really good fit as well. And then from there, the Nuggets can make more trades. Going to the second team is Atlanta Hawks. So the thing that the Hawks struggle with right now is pretty much three-point shooting, which sounds surprising, but once they trade away Kyle Korver, they lost a huge part of that. So in return, well, in this trade, I say they trade away Mike Scott and Thabo Sefolosha, and in return they get Jeremy Lamb. Now, the reason why the Hawks would do this, as I mentioned earlier, they're kind of struggling with a three-point shot, where Kent Bazemore seems to be their best three-point shooter, and he's having a really down season. So the thing is, after they trade away Korver, yes, they do have Mike Dunleavy, but I think what they need is to have young guys to build with Dennis Schroeder, and Jeremy Lamb is young enough that you can build him with Dennis Schroeder into the future. Now, the reason why the Hornets would do this, I feel, is because Jeremy Lamb, he's really inconsistent on that team, where he'll play some games in monster games. He had a 17 rebound night, and other nights he don't play at all. So I think what they could use is some defensive-minded guys. And Mike Scott's not really a defensive player, but Thabo is. But both guys are pretty solid shooters. So I think that could really help out the Hornets as well. And I'm going to talk about the Hornets later. But the other thing about this is I definitely think the Hawks need a trade for a young guy, because I mean, Kim Bazemore's pretty young too, but the lineup where right now it's like Schroeder, Bazemore, Thabo, Paul Millsap, and Dwight Howard is a fairly old one outside of Dennis. So I think if they had a younger guy in there, it'd be much more beneficial to their long-term future. Alright, next team is the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat, they have a huge issue on their hands, where they should tank because of the fact that they lost many of their guys in the past couple seasons. They lost LeBron, Wade, and now Bosh, who seems to is going to retire pretty soon, or at least be gone from the Heat. So I think the route that they should do is they have two options. They can either A, try to get a good team, so maybe trade away Whiteside and Dragic and get stars, or they can try to go for the future, and now I think it's better for them to go for the future. Now, Dragic is a pretty talented player. He's having a great season. I think he's averaged like 19 and 8 or something very remarkable and very good for the Miami Heat. So I think what they should do is trade him to the Kings, because the Kings really need a point guard, and in return they get Rudy Gay, Ben McLemore, and Skal Labissiere. Now in this trade, you can maybe expect a second-round pick or a first-round pick as well. So this is the reason why the Heat would do this. So the Heat desperately need young talent. They do have a lot of young shooting guards who seem pretty good, in Tyler Johnson and Josh Richardson. However, by adding Ben McLemore, it can't hurt. You just get even more talent. And I think out of those guys and throw in the guys like Dion Waiters, there's no doubt at least one of them will develop into a quality starter. And I think Ben McLemore needs a new place to thrive, because the Kings are not doing well for him. Now Rudy Gay comes in to fill a large part of the contract of Goran Dragic, but I believe there's a lot of rumors that he wanted to go to the Heat, or there are rumors about that. I think ideally the best thing for Rudy Gay is to go to the Thunder, but I think this is still a good trade nonetheless, and he is going to opt out after this year, he confirmed, so maybe the Heat wouldn't really get anything from him besides a small rental, but I think he'd be fun to have on the Heat, and there's still a good chance he might return. And Scalabissier for another young piece. He is, I'm not saying he was in close to Chris Bosh, but he has a similar play style and a guy who can stretch the floor and be a decent defender and rebounder, but he's still super young, but this is more of a future piece. So I think throwing in maybe a first round pick, or if they have a pick that's owned by another team, I don't really know. I think that'd be a good thing, or throwing a couple second rounders, because I feel like the Heat won't give them away for more than at least one first round pick, but that's what I think would be necessary to get Goran Dragic and to really help out the Heat in terms of building towards a long-term future. Alright, up next is the Orlando Magic, and the Magic are probably the hardest team to do, because there's not one trade that will fix them. They probably need 5 or 6 trades, and that is absolutely horrendous. So this offseason, the Orlando Magic had tons of issues in terms of signing players. They seem to be like what people do in 2K, where you just sign the best players available, and then from there you worry about it later in terms of trading them for pieces, and that's exactly what they did. They picked up Serge Ibaka in a trade that they probably regret right now, as guys in Domantas Sabonis and Victor Oladipo are pretty special and much more valuable than a one-year rental of Serge Ibaka, because I'm almost positive he's going to leave. And throw in the fact that they signed Bismack Biyombo, who's very good, but the issue is he will probably leave as well, or he doesn't get tons of minutes. They have Vucevic already, and the list goes on and on and on. So basically what they need to do is start to get rid of some of their guys they have, and I think the biggest guy that they should get rid of is Serge Ibaka, because he probably has the highest trade value. So my trade is for him to go to the Raptors, and in return they get Norman Powell and Terrence Ross. Now, the reason why the Magic would do this, as I mentioned earlier, they have way too many guys on their team, also including Jeff Green. So I think if they trade away Ibaka, you can now slide Aaron Gordon to his position that he actually should play, the 4. And then you have a young guy, 2 young guys actually, Terrence Ross, who can potentially be a good starter, and Norman Powell, a good guy to have off the bench. So if this is just one trade for them, I could probably do 5 or 6 hypothetical trades. But what they really need to do is completely retool their roster. There are rumors that Sam Hinkie might come back to be a GM, and I think he'd be a perfect fit for the young Magic team. Another reason why the Raptors would do this, in my previous video talking about the Raptors, they need a forward who can stretch the floor, kind of like Patrick Patterson. I think that's perfect. It's a perfect spot for Serge Ibaka, and throw in the fact that he's an excellent shot blocker, and that is a perfect fit. Alright, moving on to my last team, the Charlotte Hornets. Now the Hornets, they're pretty solid, and the thing is, it's hard to find out one thing that they really need. I think they need more toughness, and that's where I'm getting John Lure. Marvin Williams has had a pretty solid year last year, but this year he's struggling quite a bit, so I think they need to get rid of him. It seems a little fast, but also I think they should have a little bit of a younger team, as most of the rest of their guys are pretty young. I believe Marvin's 32, so I believe that they should trade him away for John Lure. Now, John Lure isn't much different than Marvin Williams in terms of what he's going to bring you. He's a good athlete, actually, but he's also a floor stretcher and a good rebounder. So John Lure, I think he's pretty talented. He is, he's getting paid pretty well, but so is Marvin Williams. He is 27 years old, so he's a little bit younger than Marvin Williams, and I think he could be really special in this team. And to throw in, the little race card, the fact that the Hornets seem to have every big white guy on their team besides maybe like Aaron Baines. And Boban Marjanovic, so I think if the Pistons and Hornets, had a team together combined, they'd have the most white players in the NBA. Why not get another big white guy? But I really think, besides the whole white thing, he's very talented and a great guy to have on your team, and I think he'll fit perfectly. Anyways, guys, that's my video on the trades that each team should make. Let me know down below if some of these trades will make sense to you, if you're a fan of that team or you're following them closely. So definitely let me know about that. Subscribe to get more of these videos, share where you want to. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and of course, have a good day.